If you want to talk conspiracy, you want to talk about conspiracy, who is, in my opinion, most likely to be behind this. If you want to go big, like real big, global implications conspiracy, I will tell you exactly who I think that is. Now, I work incredibly hard to make sure that all of my videos are top quality, but there are only so many when you're going to have breakthrough epiphanies about the biggest case in the world where everyone in the entire world is trying to figure out exactly what happened. Since everybody thinks that we're getting very close to the truth with new information that's been coming out, I'm going to throw a real big wrench into that conclusion right now, because I figured something out that I had not realized before, and I don't think anybody had. There are two potential guilty parties, neither of which are a lone shooter as far as I'm concerned. You have the state actor Israel angle, or you have a conspiracy among a bunch of left-wing radicals who planned this. There was a bunch of them in the crowd, and they posted it all over the internet. And to answer before you even ask, within those scenarios, you have the FBI. And in one side, they would have to be in on it, and it has to be a grand conspiracy. And on the other, they would have just been rushing to judgment. They would have been writing things and then making them public before they had a chance to double check them. So those are the two things. You got left-wing radicals and incompetence, or you have an absolute stone conspiracy. Check this out. Do you guys remember this incident right here? Now, remember immediately following Charlie Kirk getting murdered and the whole place diving down on the grass to be safe, and suddenly there was someone standing up cheering? It took me a while to find one of the videos of that incident where you could actually hear what they were saying, but I did, and I think it's rather interesting. That's right. If it was the leftist radicals, then that was them mocking us, because this time they got the guy that they were trying to kill. So here's the thing about the Charlie Kirk investigation. The answers that we are going to derive looking into that entire thing are going to answer a lot of other questions that tie into a lot of other very serious, very large issues. And it feels like we have a convergence that this video, I think, is going to represent pretty accurately, because not only are we going to talk about the direction with which Charlie was hit with the bullet that killed him, we're going to talk about the recovered item from his body that was said to be a bullet, and how what was actually recovered is problematic compared to the official story. It's a big problem. And why are we being, told this one thing when it's clearly not that thing? We're going to talk about that. But in addition to that, okay, Candace yesterday talked about that she had to put into place a kill switch in case something happens to her. She put together a package that would go out to everyone in the event that she gets killed. She sent it to a bunch of trusted people. And it's interesting that she said that today or yesterday, right? I'm reporting on it today, because the kill switch concept, and in case you guys are unfamiliar with this, it is if someone feels that they are in danger, but they have damaging or crushing information about the party that would potentially want to hurt them, then they give that information to trusted sources that the other people do not know who those people are, and thus it keeps them from killing the person, because if they kill them, then all of the damaging information goes out, and it ensures that it's not worth it to put them down, okay? That's a kill switch or a dead man's trigger or whatever. Now, this is Josh Hammer. He is the one who Candace said was potential, well, didn't say, but implied very much that he might have had foreknowledge or have been involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination, because he had posted the thing, public executions the day before, and he had been in that text chain with Charlie when he said he had to leave the pro-Israel movement 24 hours before he was killed. And he has now responded, and we are going to definitely take a look at that. I want you guys to listen to Candace read the statement that Andrew from TPUSA put out when he was describing how Charlie Kirk died, because that's important also.
Students and special guests standing directly behind Charlie on the other side of the tent, and bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the Man of Steel, that we just went, something's not right. Something not right. A lot of stuff's not right. I just don't know why a surgeon would be saying something that actually only the medical examiner, somebody that specializes in forensics, could really contribute. Yes, a surgeon can tell you, or actually any person with common sense can tell you, that your bone density is better when you're younger. But this seemed a little bit too performative. Now, I can tell you the part that he is telling the truth about is that Charlie's neck indeed did stop the bullet.
Well, I think she tipped her hand right there, did she not? The part he is telling the truth about.
The part that he is telling the truth about.
So now we know that Candace is at the very least very suspicious of Andrew from TPUSA. And this is where I'm going to start at least like starting to weave something in. In the event that TPUSA does not have anybody who was involved in this at the executive level, Candace making accusations in their direction is incredibly reckless. And I mean this seriously. And I think that Candace is one of the smartest people in the world. And I think she's one of the most effective communicators. I think her team's incredible. She's running an independent organization over there with a handful of people that is globally influential. She is a dragon, as she has referenced in that video that we looked at yesterday. And she can burn things to the ground. And she better be pretty fucking sure about anyone that she accuses at TPUSA, because if she's wrong, she is actively burning down Charlie's life's legacy. His everything that he worked for his entire life is in TPUSA. When I hear her say stuff like that, I'm like, oof, man, like, hopefully she knows something that I don't know. You know what I mean? Hopefully she knows something that I don't know. What would be more tragic an outcome after what happened to Charlie than to have Candace believing that she is being his most loyal, fearsome soldier, trying to get to the truth, and her accidental result is that she destroys his remaining legacy that he spent his entire life building, and that was his life's work, and she burns it to the ground. I just want everybody to think about that. I really, because, you know, again, I'm gonna watch every single Candace episode. I want to know where the FBI fucked up. I want to know where Israel said this or whatever. I want to know anything about Tyler Robinson that she hears. But when it comes to TPUSA, like, I keep my eye on the prize when it comes to those kinds of things. Like, what are we all doing here? Like, what are we all doing here? Charlie Kirk got murdered, killed violently. The guy is a father, husband, and there is nothing more nightmarish to me than, in an effort to do whatever, that I hurt his family or the company that he built. Because I've done that. I've built a company before. The reason people call it their baby is it's that important. Like, I can't even fucking imagine how much TPUSA mattered to Charlie Kirk. And so, to Candace, with the utmost respect, unless you know something I don't know, I would holster those accusations until you know for sure. Because there's no way Charlie would want you tearing at TPUSA. That's all I'm going to say. I went way longer than I meant for it to. Now let's get to the bullet direction and all of that stuff. Okay, so now we're going to find out unequivocally which direction that Charlie Kirk was shot from, and then what we can take from that, and also what caliber definitely was not used by the shooter.
Without question, okay, and this is going to dispel a lot of theories that are out there, and I'm telling you this 100%, Charlie Kirk was shot from the front, and the bullet did not exit, and at least a fragment of the bullet was recovered from his neck. And I'm going to tell you exactly where it was recovered from. I have fact-checked this information from multiple sources now. I've actually been sitting on this for a little bit over a week. Right around here. So think about almost in line with your shoulder blade, right in the center. Now, why is that helpful? Because it gives us a bullet trajectory, okay? We went in here where you saw that, and it was stopped, and a fragment was pulled from, think right, if you're just touching your spine in line with your shoulder blade. That leads us, obviously, to the part that he's maybe not being forthcoming about. They did not recover a bullet from a .30-06.
Okay, so I'm going to comment on that, and then I'm going to holster the remainder of the conversation related to the information that's in this episode, which was literally happening right now as I was filming. I do want to talk about, obviously, the findings in the autopsy. There's not a 308, okay? Like, we all knew that. We all knew there's not a 308 round, because a 308 would have blown through his neck in a millisecond, okay? Anyone who had ever shot rifles knew that that was not the caliber that hit him. So the question that you have to ask is, how did that become the official story? Okay, because in every question that is going to be posed from now on, now we've hit a point where there's enough out there, there's enough suspicion. This is never going to end now. Okay, this is never going to end. So the parameters that you always have to ask is, was this someone who was intentionally deceiving us for a purpose of concealment? Or does someone the FBI who's doing this on purpose? Or were they fooled? Or did they make a rush judgment before they add time to verify? Okay. I am going to give you the reason why I have a really hard time believing that this is some kind of big professional job. And because planning this out, if I can very easily think of a gigantic flaw in the plan, then I can't believe that like professional Mossad agents or whatever is the implication would just have this oversight here. And that is that if you're going to frame a patsy, right? And they're going to have a 308 and then you're going to shoot the person with a caliber so different in performance that everyone's going to know. That doesn't even make any sense. I would have known that. It'd be like, okay, so we're doing all this thing and we're going to use this kid and this is the kid's rifle, whatever. It's a 308. And it's like, okay, cool. I guess we'll just shoot him with a 9mm. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Of course they're going to know. Of course they're going to know. Now, does that mean that there's not two people and there are multiple people and there's misdirection happening? Okay, that certainly could have happened. So like the conclusion here being that like TPUSA was intentionally misleading people or the FBI was intentionally misleading people versus it being a series of coincidence is not a certainty. Okay. It obviously could be, but it's not a certainty. Now let's get to the kill switch and let's get to the gentleman that she accused and what his response was right after a word from this sponsor. Really quick, Prize Picks. It's NFL time, and that means it's time for you to join Prize Picks. I don't understand what's daily fantasy. I'll explain that later. What you need to know right this second is that if you deposit $5 and put it in play, they will guarantee give you a free $50 regardless of whether or not you win with that $5 entry fee. Wait, I deposit $5 and I get $50 back regardless of whether I win. Yes, that's correct. So that'd be a 10x return guaranteed. Yeah, that's correct. So who wouldn't do that? I don't know, man. You tell me. Everybody is doing it. So tell us what else we get aside from $50 free dollars. Well, you get to play the best daily fantasy game on the entire internet. Talk to me like a child and explain to me how to play. Prize Picks could not make this game more simple. You're going to pick which sport you want to play, and then you're going to start picking players that you're going to add to your roster. Then we're going to decide whether they're going to get more or less than the stat line provided by Prize Picks. We're going Shedeur Sanders, and we're going more because we are eternal optimists. Let's say you want to start small and you put $5 in play on your first roster. You can win up to $187.50. But if you're a big baller and you want to put, let's say, $50 in play, you can win up to $1,875. But let's say you are a big wallet gangster and you want to put $500 into a single roster. You can win up to $18,750 if all of your players deliver. Now, we also got some new features coming in with this new football season, and you're going to be able to play the same player up to 3 times with 3 different stat lines if you want. It's already live on Major League Baseball and WNBA. When you go to Prize Picks, you use the link in the description and you sign up and you use promo code JesseOnFire, you are going to get a free $50 once you put $5 in play. Use the link in the description, sign up using promo code JesseOnFire, put in $5 in play, and get your free $50 back. That's a 10x return. You are welcome. I love all of you guys. Let's go.
I went ahead this week and sent around a life insurance policy of sorts, a package rather, to people that I trust, a package filled with text messages, emails, private communications, videos, and private legal documents. So if anything happens to me, you guys will know exactly who it is that has been making my life a living hell over the past couple of years. People that are trying to bankrupt me and my family, that are threatening us to sue us. Everything that Kanye said was so real, okay? I'm now at that point where you look back and you go, man, Kanye was right. He was really saying something about what it takes to leave, to fight for custody of your own soul. Just leave me alone. Let me say what I believe and you say what you believe. Fight fair. Why do you always have to make this threat to bankrupt people? And I want you to know that those people, if anything happens to me, they have my explicit permission to release it all, detonate it all, expose all of these people in politics and in the movement who behave like this behind the scenes. It's necessary. And I highly recommend every single person that is out there that has a platform and is going through things and is scared, do the same. Send everything around to about 8 people that you trust. And I mean, I've ranged it. I sent it to journalists, text messages and screenshots to people ranging from Max Blumenthal to Andrew Tate. They won't know where it's coming from.
I have an idea. You ever send me a kill switch? Don't fucking tell anybody I have it, dude. Jesus. I mean, I would be flattered, right? And I would safeguard it as long as, they're like, don't tell them I have it. That's, she's like, this information that they would kill to avoid going public. She's like, I sent it to Jesse on Fire, and he's the only one who has it. And he said that he keeps it in a place where no one will ever find it if something happened to him. So you could probably just dust him. You know what I mean? Like Max Blumenthal's all, thanks, Candace. You know, Andrew Tate's like, well, they're already trying to kill me. So, you know. Now, again, in case you guys didn't see this yesterday, okay, this guy right here, this is Josh Hammer, okay? So what happened is the day before, like I said, Charlie Kirk was shot. This dude reshared a thing that said bring back public executions from 2013 that Trump put up before he was even in politics, right? He was also on the text thread where Charlie said that he was no longer going to be able to be a part of the pro-Israel movement. Okay, so obvious implication then from Candace is that this guy had foreknowledge and he was part of orchestrating Charlie being murdered. So this is the biggest issue that I have with the entire narrative that Israel did it. He leaves the pro-Israel official in that text message and they orchestrate some super complicated assassination one day later. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense to you guys? Like, to me, that is as blaring a hole in the theory as the 308, you know, being the round that killed him. Like, I'm serious. Does that make sense to you guys? One day later, and they're like, don't worry, we've got a patsy all lined up. You know what I mean? It would have had to have been in motion previous to that. Now, again, Charlie Kirk saying, I am afraid that they are going to kill me, makes whoever they is a pretty fucking number one suspect. So this is Josh Hammer, the guy, you know, public executions, whatever.
Mud. Like never before. Alleging that I had some sort of potential foreknowledge of Charlie Kirk's horrific assassination. The specific screenshot in question shows the day before Charlie Kirk's murder, shows Charlie not happy that a major $2 million donation to Turning Point USA from a prominent Jewish donor had been pulled. And Charlie was not happy about it. He was blowing off steam in the confines of a private chat. He was saying they're going to force me to abandon the pro-Israel cause. He was saying things that people say when they're upset, when they're blowing off steam among friends in a private setting. But as the great Dennis Prager once said, especially for someone who was a public-facing figure,
Okay, I've seen enough. Listen, I can't say one way or the other for sure, ever. But again, this is the thing I'm best at in the entire world. I believe him, dude. I believe him. I really do. I believe that he had nothing to do with this. Doesn't exonerate anybody else. Now, and maybe he is like an absolute stone mastermind who's capable of controlling his face in ways that most people are not. But like, you know who I don't believe is the guy Hunter Kozak, who was talking about, who asked the final question to Charlie, who asked that, and then he goes on and he's giving a very similar type of interview. This is the type of energy that you would give. This is indignant. This is not scripted. This is not him trying to do something with his face. This is what you would do if someone accused you of murdering your friend and you had not done it. This is the exact right energy. The guy who asked the question about trans whatever right before a trans radical shot and killed Charlie, and then some other weirdo stood up and went, USA, USA. You know what I realized after that? You know, the guy who started cheering and then whatever, USA. Why would he cheer USA, do you guys think? You know, why would he do that? And I realized it's because he's an Antifa guy, most likely. And USA is a reference to when Trump was shot and went, USA, USA. Now, after recording this, I went and watched the two videos. So now we're going to do that together, okay? I want you to watch these two together and then tell me that I'm wrong.
Hold on, your head is bloody. So we got to move to the bus. Okay. Watch out. Wait.
And then immediately after, Charlie Kirk just got murdered in front of everybody in a very similar situation. That's their get back. Like that's them. That's him like clowning on the conservatives because they got him this time. Okay. Like I'm going to do a worse and worse job hiding the fact that I am like every instinct that I have, every fucking instinct that I have is that it's those fucking leftist radicals and it's not Israel. And that this is literally like a string of incredibly bad luck. Like just in terms of how this could have played out and it would make it look like it's them. I don't know. And I certainly am open to like additional information coming out for sure. But like, I don't know, man. I can't not tell you what I'm thinking, dude. I just can't do it. Like I have to tell you what I'm thinking. And that is what I'm thinking. And I think that you have a combination of incompetence by the FBI, rush judgments, them, Kash Patel, new FBI director, he's putting out information way too fast. And then you have this very contentious situation going on between Israel donors and Charlie. And we've got a lot of people, ready to fucking jump on like Israel did it because they have a history with Mossad and all of that. They're very, very good at these types of operations. But are you really telling me they knocked off Charlie Kirk in 24 hours? Like they put this together in 24 hours? Why wouldn't they wait 2 weeks? Why wouldn't they wait until, like, if they're going to knock him off, why would they do it in such a public place where the entire world is going to be evaluating it and potentially catch them? It's such bad tradecraft. It's such bad tradecraft. To do it like this would be insane. You guys got to understand, man. Like, I got to understand Israel, as much as people think Israel runs the United States and whatever, they are 100% reliant on us. So think about that. Assassinating Charlie Kirk, you think that's just like a risk-free operation? JD Vance, the vice president, is super close friends with Charlie Kirk. Let me ask you guys a question. You guys, everybody acknowledges that Mossad is one of the most exceptional, capable intelligence agencies in the world at what they do, right? I don't even think that's even debatable, okay? I mean, I don't know, but that's what I've always heard or whatever, right? You don't think that they know what JD Vance's relationship with Charlie Kirk is? That would be like the Somali pirates level of intelligence. If you're going to target a major political figure in the United States, okay, like maybe the Somali pirates would be like the only people that would not realize that Charlie Kirk is that close of friends with the vice president. Because if, you can have all the blackmail, all that stuff in the world. You really think that Israel has the ability to shut a thing like that down if someone actually gets it in their mind and they consider them an enemy like that, or they committed committed an assassination in our country? Like the risk for Israel to do this is existential. It's an existential risk to murder Charlie Kirk on American soil. It doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't do it. It's possible they did it. But just when you're thinking it through, like you have to really understand all of the factors, okay? And we have, again, I don't know, dude. It might have been them. But I will continue to tell you, if you think that the evidence there is larger than with a radical leftist, you're crazy. If you want to talk conspiracy, who is, in my opinion, most likely to be behind this, if you want to go big, like real big, global implications conspiracy, I will tell you exactly who I think that is. Here it is, okay? Here it is. You got to think about all the other things that are converging right now, okay? Right now, we realize that the conservatives and the Democrats are closer to an actual civil conflict than we ever realized. I did not realize it. I am going to be honest. I fancy myself pretty fucking good at like kind of, going like this and understanding where we're at. I didn't understand. I did not understand. And I know exactly why. It's because I am on the independent / conservative side where I see Trump as like a flawed human with a lot of skills that are going to be great for the country. Because he's a hardline negotiator and he's going to get all the shit out. And there's some stuff we got to clean up, dude. And I believe he loves the country. Like that's how I see Trump. I did not understand how blind and brainwashed the people who don't like him are to the point I didn't get where they're at until Charlie got killed. Okay. When Charlie got killed, it was a major wake-up call to me where like I had no idea that we were at a place where they would openly cheer for the death of someone that's associated with him. Like that's so foreign to me. I can't even wrap my brain around that. I can't even wrap my brain around that. There's no scenario where anybody that I know over here would ever feel like that about them. If someone, a political assassination on video and they're a Democrat, we would be appalled by that. And so the level and the 55% would be okay with assassinating Donald Trump, 50% okay with assassinating Elon Musk. And, listen, they hate them that much. They associate us with them. They think we're all the same. Like they're in their brain. They have that much hate drilled into their brains that like it's all the same. We are right there. And thank God we are the ones with the guns and not them. Okay. Now that is not an accident. Okay. As much as if you talk to some Democrat, they're going to tell you that it's because of Trump. That's not accurate. And I'll tell you that right. That is not accurate. It's not the result of Trump because Trump was one of the biggest celebrities in the fucking world for 30 years before he became president. He was never that big a deal to anybody. If you want to see like the direct result of obvious, this is the power of the media. Okay. Now, obviously he doesn't do himself any favors, winning people over that are on the other side because he's combative. And so they're on the other side. So he's like, fuck you, how you like them. Fuck. So you have that personality mixed with an entire global apparatus that exists basically solely to make their viewers turn and hate him and anyone who supports him. Okay. And why are they doing that? Okay. I mean, obviously there's part of it was they want to win elections and they want to be able to control the government through the Democrats. But if you believe Yuri Bezmenov, there is a much larger long-term play which is going on, and that is to break and destroy the United States. And who's behind that? Who's running that outfit? Who's behind that? Okay. China, maybe, partially. They're a foreign adversary that I would expect to be trying to undermine society. Who domestically is trying to break the United States? Okay. Because the answer to who this might be, there you go. Okay. Who's putting money into all of these things to fund these? Who funded the BLM riots? How did that happen? Who funded the chaos in 2020? Who funded the recent chaos? Who got who started the attacks on Teslas when Elon was going after their money? Okay. You tell me who that is. Okay. Maybe George Soros and his compadres. Those are the people that want to break the United States. That's what George Soros has done his entire life is he breaks countries. He's a currency trader and then he breaks countries, breaks their governments. And again, I didn't think that we were where we are. They killed Charlie, and that becomes the flashpoint where if you want a global conspiracy, this is a flashpoint intended to be the destabilization, the kind of flashpoint that is the destabilization and chaos moment of that entire process. We go to civil war. We have one state government fall. Do you understand what happens? Do you understand how close to that we are right now? Do you have any fucking idea? Okay, I held my tongue yesterday in the video that I did. I held my tongue in the video in terms of being specific about when I said they're going to kill you. I was very non-specific. Well, I talked about it today with Gabriella and Play with Matches. And she's like, well, what do you mean? Civil war? What does that even look like? I'm like, you want me to explain it to you? Because, this is obviously something I had thought out. That's why I was freaking out in the video. Okay. Charlie just got murdered. Okay. Charlie just got killed, assassinated by the left. Right. If Soros and them funded it, then fine, whatever. But the left killed Charlie Kirk. While we are all mourning as a group, who knows? Maybe this is a sexier story for right now. And I guess we could just cross our fingers that everything that we know and love does not cease to exist in the exact way that I'm predicting right now, which now that you've heard it, I would imagine sounds a lot more fucking plausible than it did before you watched this video. Anyway, I take no pleasure in bringing that message to you guys. That's why I did it at the very end, so that, only my people who really love my show will still be there. Because I also don't want to put ideas in people's heads that will lead to that happening. That's another reason I was trying to be cagey about it. I didn't want to, incite militia, because that would be the worst fucking thing that could possibly happen. But they are begging for it. They are fucking begging for it by endorsing this guy. Anyway, that's it.